Iminay 37 na legislaturan Guahan is called to order. Welcome, my youth senators, to this Island Leadership Day session. Majority Leader, Senator Torcelino, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Notwithstanding the House rules, I move to adopt today's legislative session agenda dated April 27, 2023.
A motion was made notwithstanding the House rules to adopt today's legislative session agenda dated April 27, 2023. Are there any objections?
No.
Hearing no objections, motion passes. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to, notwithstanding the House rules, I move to waive legislative session agenda item 2 to 6.
A motion was made to waive legislative session agenda item 2 to 6. Are there any objections?
No objection.
Hearing no objections, motion passes. You are recognized, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move to waive legislative session agenda items 8 through 13.
We're going to go back to roll call. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Senator Acta, Senator Agui, Senator Aguilar, Senator Balagut, Senator Bermeo, Senator Carawell, Senator Dela Cruz, Senator Escano, Senator Herman, Senator Lapid, Senator Lizama, Speaker Malici, Senator Marquez, Senator Negroy, Senator Negro Clemay, Vice Speaker Rice, Senator Sato, Senator Solidium, Senator Torcelino, Senator Treltis, Senator Villacrucis, Senator Villanueva, Senator Shu. Mr. Speaker, there is a quorum.
Thank you, Clerk. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move to waive legislative session agenda items 8 through 13.
On the motion, notwithstanding the House rules, to waive legislative session agenda item 8 to 13, hearing no objections, are there any objections?
No objections.
Hearing no objections, motion carries. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move that bills introduced, bill numbers 1-35LS through 4-35LS, be deemed to have been given their first reading.
On the motion, are there any objections?
No.
Hearing no objections, motion carries. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move that bills introduced, bill numbers 1-37LS through 9-35LS, and, and Resolution 1 and 2 deemed to have been given their first reading.
On the motion, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, the motion carries. We are on motions. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
I move to excuse senators not present for today's legislative session.
On the motion, are there any objections?
No objection.
Hearing no objections, motion carries. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
I make a motion to waive agenda items 15 and 16.
On the motion to waive legislative concurrence and consent calendar, are there any objections?
No objection.
Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on the second reading file. We will begin with Bill number 1-37. Senator Torcellino on Bill number 1 to 37. You are recognized. Uh, okay. We are now on the second reading file. Senator Balagot on Bill number 1-37. You are recognized.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ariana Balaget, and I will now read the short title for my bill. It is an act to add a new Chapter 55 to Division 5 of Title 17, Guam Code annotated, relative to requiring drug testing for student athletes, and to cite this act as the Drug-Free Student Athletes Act of 2023. Essentially, this bill would require that all high school students who want to join sports would have to complete a drug test for methamphetamine, cocaine, and performance-enhancing drugs. As a student athlete myself, I believe that it is important that our island student athletes are healthy and safe. With the growing issue of drugs on our island, it would be in the best interest of our island's youth. Firstly, methamphetamine and cocaine are controlled substances. These are the kinds of drugs that not only harm the student who is taking them, but the people around them. So it is important that we take measures to ensure that students are safe in everything they do, especially in sports, where there is often a lot of physical activity and physical contact. Secondly, this bill requires that students get drug tested for performance-enhancing drugs such as steroids. This is important because sports in schools are known for their integrity. Students compete with each other on a basis of fairness and honesty. Should any student be taking performance-enhancing drugs, it ruins the integrity of competitive aspects of sports. For all of these reasons, I choose to introduce this bill. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 1-37 on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Please raise your hand. Senator Aguilar, you are recognized.
Test. All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Um, I would like to recognize this bill and just state, as a fellow student athlete, I've experienced, or I've heard from my fellow athletes as well, their opinion on the matter of performance-enhancing drugs. Um, I myself feel like it is unfair to the sport, especially as a track runner and a cross-country runner who dedicates a lot of their time and their energy to be competed or, I guess, defeated by someone who kind of cheated their way in order to win a competition. Again, I would also like to state that with performance-enhancing drugs, making the the playing field uneven provides opportunities to students that could really use it more. I've known students myself, who's my colleagues as well. I've known students who were able to get scholarships for being student athletes, and to have an athlete that is given more opportunity because they were using enhanced drugs instead of using their skill, their merits, their sacrifice, and their time, I feel that would be unfair to any student, anyone who would like to pursue athletes or even the opportunities that come with interscholastic sports. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Aguilar. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Please raise your hand. If there's no other person, Senator Balagot, please close.
I ask my colleagues to support my bill to protect student athletes, and I yield the rest of my time.
On the motion to place Bill number 1-37 on the third reading file, Senator Balagot, you are recognized to close. Oh. Okay. On the motion to place Bill number 1-37 on the third reading file, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on Bill number 2. Senator Escano on Bill number 2-37, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My last name is pronounced Escano. Notwithstanding the House rules, I move to place Bill number 2-37 LS on the session agenda.
You may proceed.
Hafaday colleagues, Bill number 2-37 LS is an act to add a new subsection 4124B3 of Chapter 4, Title 17, Guam Code annotated relative to allowing school and village/island beautification as student service learning hours. This allows for school and village beautification as student service learning hours, which means that 20 hours of the 75 required service learning hours will be designated towards beautifying the community of Guam and school campuses. 10 hours will be for island/village beautification, while the other 10 hours will be for school campus beautification. Having this bill implemented can create a greener Guam, not only for the present, but also for the future. Requiring students to clean our community promotes environmental awareness and maintains the cleanliness of our island and schools, which is the pinnacle of how service learning hours originated. students helping and giving back to their community. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 2-37 LS on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator Torcellino, you are recognized.
I'm in support of Bill 2-37. Bill 2-37 because I agree that there should be a designated section that is dedicated to the betterment of our island, such as what she said, the beautification of our village and our island through mandating the service learning hours within students in our school. Thank you.
Who's that? Senator Vermeo, you are recognized.
I too am in support of Bill 237 because I believe that that implementing these service learning hours, cleaning up the community, it allows students to recognize the impacts they have on the environment. And I believe that this bill will help increase environmental awareness among students and even among their family members as they interact with them. And I believe that this also promotes a better community as students work to clean up their surroundings and work for their fellow citizens. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? If there's no other member, on the motion to place Bill number 2-37 LS on the third reading file. Oh, there. Senator Asano, you are recognized to close.
Mr. Speaker, my last name is Escano. It's like Escano, Escano. For my closing, I ask my fellow colleagues to support this bill to promote environmentalism in our youth and for a greener Guam. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 2-37 LS on the third reading file, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on Bill number 3-37. Senator Torcellino, Senator Nichelle, and Senator Carawell on Bill number 3-37. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Half a day, everyone. My bill is an act to appropriate the sum of $2 million from the general fund excess revenues for fiscal year 2023 to the Department of Public Works for the implementation and purpose of reconstructing sidewalks in high traffic areas on Guam. Every day, there are numerous groups of people who walk along the roads of Guam. From students who come and go to their bus stops, cyclists and runners who utilize these walkways, tourists who want to explore our island, and general civilians who need sidewalks to get from one place to another. Because of the lack of functional sidewalks, the well-being of these groups of people are put at risk. Therefore, more sidewalks should be constructed and repaired for the lifestyle of pedestrians of Guam. We propose to appropriate the sum of $2 million from the general fund excess revenues to the Department of Public Works for the implementation and purpose of reconstructing sidewalks in high traffic areas so the overall safety, health, and environment of our island will be improved. Thank you.
On the motion to place bill, Senator Azalea, you are recognized.
I stand in support of this bill. Sidewalks are a vital part of any community. However, their significance goes unnoticed most of the time. By enacting this bill, it ensures the safety of our citizens. Through the reconstruction of sidewalks, there will be less of a chance of injury or accidents, and it will encourage citizens to use these sidewalks, which is beneficial towards their health. Not only is this bill an advantage to our people, but also to those foreign to here. We all know that Guam is known for its natural beauty. This is why tourism is a big factor in Guam's economy. Unfortunately, the tourists here are not used to the lack of sidewalks here on our island. They mostly come from countries like Korea or Japan, which have sidewalk-accessible cities. By adding more sidewalks, we can boost the tourism industry and our overall economy. I endorse this bill in favor of our safety, of the people, and the betterment of our future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Senator Azalea. Senator Caraval, you are recognized.
I'm in favor of this bill. My justification for supporting this bill would be that sidewalks are very crucial to many others, including myself. I have no sidewalk. Having no sidewalks around us would cause crashes, and many people's safety would lower over time. Increasing the amount of sidewalks will reduce the dangers and the risk of pedestrians that they would. Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you. On the motion to place bill number 3-37 LS on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? If there is no member, please raise your hand. Senator Shu, you are recognized.
I am in support of this bill number 3-37, because the people's safety should be at the heart of the government, and it should be implemented at all costs necessary. Therefore, I believe that a simple solution such as sidewalks, which can be easily done, should be implemented in order for the safety of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Shu. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Aguilar, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm in favor of Bill 3-37 because as a student who does not have access to my own personal transportation, who also relies on my family members or fellow friends or colleagues, it is difficult to sometimes access places that I would like to go. For example, just simple communal areas, for example, the mall or just seeing friends. It is difficult because it is hard to access anywhere to go, because if you even go on the roads, of course you're going to get hit by a car. If there are sidewalks, to rebuild them or to implement them with the allotted appropriation, I think it would not only benefit, of course, the citizens of Guam generally, but also especially students who are unable to provide their own personal transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Aguilar. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Please raise your hand. If there is no other member on the motion to place the Bill number 3-37 LS on the third reading file, Senator Torcelino, Azalea, and Genesis, you are recognized to close.
Thank you for your consideration and input on this bill. I look forward to further strengthening and passing this bill for the benefit of this lifestyle of the people of Guam. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 3-37 LS on the third reading file, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on the fourth bill. Senator Lapid, Senator Lapid on Bill number 4-37 LS. You are recognized.
Hello, everyone. On the motion to place, I move to place Bill number 4-37 LS on the third reading file, and I would like to speak on it.
You may proceed.
Bill number 4-37 is an act to establish a maintenance crew in every Guam Department of Education public school, which will be solely dedicated to providing services and maintenance for their respective school. I wanted to introduce this bill as some public schools in Guam are experiencing a lack of adequate and safe learning environments. As some of you might have seen on the news, school issues about damage and deteriorating buildings are prevalent. Various schools are constantly brought up and suggested to be restored and renovated, as these schools are in dire need of repairs. Likewise, students need a safe and appropriate space to learn and thrive. They should not be in spaces that are a potential hazard to them, their health, and their well-being. Enacting this bill would introduce improved upkeep and maintenance that already exists. This bill affects me, as some of my friends that attended some of these schools often tell me about the state of their school, and most of these comments are negative. It is dismaying hearing their voices, as I am lucky enough to attend a school that has a better environment than their schools. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 4-37 LS on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Please raise your hand. Senator Dela Cruz, you are recognized.
I am in support of Bill 4-37 because the first thing we think about when you think about education is how do we want our students to be when they're in a school environment? Our schools should be well maintained, and it adds along to how our students react in a certain education system. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dela Cruz. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Solidum, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to support the bill, but we don't have a copy of the bill.
Can the Sergeant at Arms please provide her a copy of the bill? Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Please raise your hand. Senator Aguilar, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am in support of Bill 4-37. I think we need to focus on the issue that involves maintenance in our schools. There's many reports of different aspects that need to be improved on within our schools, varying from Southern High School to Simon Sanchez, even to go as far as schools requesting to rebuild new ones. I think when it comes to the issue of maintenance, we should have it, because if we have maintenance, really, it can prevent from getting issues to getting this severe, where students would have to come into school and they would just walk in and they're just surrounded by issues that need to be dealt with but have not. And why is this? It's because, like our Senator, Mr. Lapid over here is proposing, there is no maintenance crew to maintain this. There is no one to make sure that our students are walking into a building where they can be proud of, where they're excited to learn about. They walk into a school where they think to themselves, man, how did it get this bad? And I really think that in support of this bill, having a maintenance crew can just work on piece by piece to prevent big issues like this, where we have big controversies regarding our government making sure that we have to rebuild a school, that we have to allot these huge amount of funds. So I think the bigger picture of maintenance here is also to kind of prevent the issues with our current school systems, our facilities right now. So I really want to bring attention to this issue that Senator Lapid is bringing to over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Aguilar. Is there any other member who wishes to speak?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
can I get a 1-minute recess so that my colleagues can receive a copy of my bill?
On the motion to have a recess, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We're going to continue with Bill number 4-37 LS. Senator Lapid, you are recognized.
Thank you for everyone's input. And I ask my colleagues here today to support and vote affirmatively for bill number.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
Senator Lapid.
Yes.
Is there any other member who would
Oh,
wish to
sorry.
speak? Senator Balagot, you are recognized.
On 4-37, you can. Oh, okay. I must rise in objection to this bill. Hiring new personnel requires new funds, and there must be funding resource, and this bill does not have a funding source. It is not enough to do the right thing. We must do it the right way. Money doesn't come from nowhere. It must have a source. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Balagot. Is there any other member who would wish to speak? Senator, you are recognized. Please state your name.
Hi, I'm Senator Villanueva. I have a question for the main sponsor of the bill. Is that possible?
Please state your question, Senator Villanueva.
So you know how So you know how like for different schools, for different schools they have their own leases. For example, in my school, our lease is with Quartec in Teason High School, and with Quartec they do our maintenance. So how would it work with the contracted individuals that are already with our leases, with the bill?
Senator Lapid, would you yield to that question?
Yes. Oh, wait, no. I wish to. No. Yes.
You may proceed.
Some schools don't have contracts with companies, so they may need maintenance crews so they can provide upkeep and maintenance services. Thank you.
Senator Villanueva, you are recognized.
But in your section 115, you said hire personnel for a maintenance crew in each Guam public school. So would it be for the ones that you said that didn't have? Because some public schools have leases.
Are you asking the sponsor to yield?
Yes.
Senator Lapid, would you yield to that?
Yes.
You may proceed.
We can amend this so it caters to the criteria. Thank you.
Senator Villanueva, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Torcelino, you are recognized.
In response to the funding issue, I'd like to make an amendment and propose that you may let's propose $1 million from the general fund excess in order to support Senator Lapid's bill. Thank you.
On the motion to amend Bill 4-37, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator Aguilar, you're recognized.
I am in support of Michelle Torcelino's amendments. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Aguilar. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? On the amendment, is there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion passes. We are still on Bill 4-37, is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Torcelino, you are recognized.
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor to this bill.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Aguilar, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too would like to co-sponsor this bill. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator De La Cruz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to co-sponsor this bill.
Thank you, Senator De La Cruz. Is there any other member who wishes to speak on the bill? If not, Senator Lapid, you are recognized to close.
I would like to add Speaker De La Cruz, Torcelino, and Aguilar to be co-sponsors for this bill. And I ask to close.
On that motion, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion passes. Please proceed.
Thank you everyone for your input. I ask my colleagues here today to support and vote affirmatively for this bill. A vote for bill number 4-37 is a vote for our fellow students and the future of Guam. Thank you.
On the motion to place bill number 4-37 LS on the third reading file, is there any objections? Senator Balagat, you are recognized. Is there any other objections?
Mr. Speaker, could I ask for a 1-minute recess, please?
Please repeat.
May I request a 1-minute recess?
On the motion to have a recess, is there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion passes. Senator De La Cruz, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since Bill 4-37 is an appropriations bill, I would like to ask for a committee on the whole.
On that motion to resolve, is there any objections? There is an objection. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Roll call. Mr. Speaker, I call for a roll call.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
I call for a roll call.
In motion to resolve the committee of the whole, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion fails. Bill. There was an objection from Senator Balagot on bill number 4-37 LS to place on the third reading file. So all in favor of this objection? All, oh my God. There was an objection. All in favor in placing bill number 4-37 LS on the third reading file, please raise your hand. All in favor in placing bill number 4-37 LS on the third reading file, please raise your hand. Motion passes. We are now on the fifth bill. Senator Rice on bill number 5-37 LS, you are recognized.
Half a day, Mr. Speaker. I move to place bill number 5 into third reading with the opportunity to discuss.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I introduce bill relative to establishing creative therapy as an outlet for youth seeking mental health guidance. I offer this bill especially for students who have difficulties expressing their emotions verbally but excel in arts, whether through visual art like painting or even through theater and music. Art therapy is now a regulated mental health profession in 15 states and the District of Columbia. This bill mirrors similar legislation introduced and passed in Washington, D.C. in 2020. This bill simply adds into Guam's laws the ability for public health to issue licenses to art therapists who meet national standards from the American Art Therapy Association and Commission on Accreditation of Allied Health Education Programs. The reason I introduced this bill is that I believe it is important to recognize and promote the effectiveness of art therapy as a form of mental health treatment for youth, providing them with an alternative to express themselves and work through their emotional issues. Much of our youth today already have a difficult time seeking mental health resources, so this creative therapy could aim to increase access to mental health services, especially for young individuals who may not respond well to traditional therapy. Establishing art therapy as an official and recognized form of mental health treatment could help reduce the stigma surrounding mental health issues, particularly among young people who may be hesitant to seek help due to social, cultural, or even language barriers. By providing access to art therapy services in schools, community centers, and other youth-centered institutions, this bill could also contribute to building more resilient and healthy communities by supporting the mental health and well-being of young individuals. With that, I ask for my fellow colleagues' support on this measure. Thank you, and Sizuis Maasi, Mr. Speaker.
On the motion to place bill number 5-37 on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator Senator, you're recognized. Please state your name.
My name is pronounced as Sato, thank you. But I rise and support this bill as children can and have grown up with art instilled into them. And I believe that art is a great help, whether it be for fun or to express emotions with. I also ask to be a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Senator Sato. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Please raise your hand. Senator, you're recognized. Please state your name.
My name is Senator Acta. I rise and support this bill as I believe that in order to help youth to do art therapy, I believe it helps people to have a calmer mindset. I also ask to be a co-sponsor to this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Akda. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Rice, you're recognized to close.
I thank my colleagues for this support for this bill for a better youth of our island, and I recognize Senator Sato and Senator Agar as co-sponsors.
Senator Akda. On that motion to add sponsors, is there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion passes. Please continue.
I move to place Bill number 5 onto the voting file.
On the motion to place Bill number 5-37 on the third reading file, is there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on the sixth bill. Senator Solidum on Bill number 6-37, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move to place Bill number 6-37 CORLS on the third reading file, and I would like to discuss it.
You may proceed.
I'm introducing this bill, which is an act to appropriate $15,000 to the Department of Agriculture to fund a spay/neuter program. My bill finds that the stray dog population is an ongoing problem and must be addressed through programs which could decrease the stray dog population. When I went to the Rikohi program, which was held at Tizen High School with other high schoolers from NHS chapters, most of the high school students addressed their issues about stray dogs on their campus and even walking in on their classes. Living in a neighborhood with many stray dogs and near an elementary school, it is a danger hazard, especially for kids who walk to school every day. To decrease the breeding population, which leads to the stray dog population, the spay/neuter program has met with some of the success by limiting the breeding population. The sum of $15,000 is appropriated from the general fund to the Department of Agriculture for a voucher program to be available to low-income families to obtain spay/neutering services from a veterinarian clinic.
On the motion to place Bill number 6-37 on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator, you are recognized. Please state your name.
Hello, my name is Federica Herman. I have a question for Bill number 6-37. You say that there is a stray dog population problem. However, for the gain neuter program, you only say about dogs, and I feel like that there was no family, rich nor poor, that will decide to take a random stray dog to gain just to get them neutered to decrease the problem. So how will you decrease the dog population for stray dogs rather than home dogs that are provided with food and shelter?
Will the sponsor yield to that question?
Yes. Sorry, are you able to reiterate your question?
What I am trying to say is that you're talking about stray dogs. However, I feel like that there will be no family, rich or poor, that will take a random dog from the streets to neuter them just to decrease the dog population.
Well, it's not just for low-income families. The organization and departments can also home the growing dog stray population. Oh, they can also bring them to be spayed. Also, in my neighborhood, there are many families that are willing to take dogs because there's a lot of stray dogs in our neighborhood, and they're willing to spay or neuter the dogs for a discounted price.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the bill? Senator Maliski.
I agree with the intent of the bill. However, I proffer an amendment to increase the amount to $50,000 to better provide for the amount of boony dogs that we have on island, as $15,000 is too little to fully fix the problem of having more population of dogs. Thank you.
On that amendment, is there anyone else who would like to speak? No, she said no. Senator Torsolino, on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. Amendment passes. On the bill, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Senator Torsolino?
So it mentions that your bill is a voucher program to be available to low-income families. Is it only going to include low-income families? Will the bill, is it only including low-income families who are able to obtain this voucher program for the spay neuter service? What about those who just simply who can't afford it, but just simply, is it only just available for low-income families? That's the question.
Yes, it's only for the low-income families that can't provide for these or provide to pay for the spay and neuter programs, because some families can get other support from other places, but these are mainly for the low-income families who want to take care of pets and their dogs but can't afford it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to say something about the bill? Senator Marquez.
I'm in support of bill number 6-37 because it also helps ensure student safety. Because as a public school student who walks home from the bus stop, there's like always strays around my area, and I actually like got chased by a dog. And there is also a lot of reports from my neighbors who've gotten bitten, scratched. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other member who would wish to speak on the bill? Senator Torcelino.
I would like to propose an amendment instead of making it available to low-income families, because your goal is to eliminate the problem of the ubiquitous amount of stray dogs on the island. Why not instead make it available to all families instead of solely low-income families to obtain that voucher? So my amendment is to make the voucher program available to all families instead of solely low-income families.
Okay, so there are spay and neuter programs available for people who can afford these services, but my bill is only for those, or it's mostly towards those low income that really don't have the money to afford for these types of programs. But there are other spay and neuter programs that regular income families can afford for their dogs. So I object to the amendment.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. Amendment fails. Is there any other member who would wish to speak on the bill? If not, the sponsor may close.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues, for your input and the $35,000 amendment made by, sorry, I don't know your name, by the speaker, and I ask for the rest of my colleagues to please support my bill. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 7-37 LS on the third reading file, hearing no objection. Oh, are there any objections? Oh, 6. Sorry. On the motion to place Bill number 6-37 LS on the third reading file, are there any objections? There has been an objection, so all in favor, please raise your hand. The bill passes. The motion passes. Yes, do I say this again? Senator Aguilar on bill number 7-37, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, or Mr. Speaker. I recognize Bill 7-37, and I wish to speak on it.
You may proceed.
Okay. Bill 7-37 is an act to amend 4124D of Chapter 4, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to providing more opportunities to service learning hours. My colleagues, Speaker, parents have shared with me their concern of student learning hours. Of course, there are parents who work many jobs, who have to take care of other children. Service learning was created to build character, to give students an opportunity to learn more outside of the classroom. Now, I do agree that service learning is important. However, students, or many students, are not able to access these opportunities because they're outside of the classroom. Now, what I propose, of course, my colleagues, is to bring the opportunities to school. Okay? Students, other than, of course, the class of 2022, class of 2023, cannot graduate without service learning hours. And you are telling me that students cannot graduate simply because they couldn't go to an event to just get some hours. And not only that, when they graduate, they are going to be part of the world where they needed these skills. They needed these skills to have leadership, skills of communication, and also connection to build relationship with other people. As a president, as a school class president, I've seen firsthand that within my school, camaraderie is low. There are students who are antisocial, who lack perseverance, and also have short attention spans. My manamkus, there is no questioning that there is concern for our future generation because of the quality that our students are in right now. And I would like to recognize that service learning is important to build these skills for the future generation. As a school president, I've seen my fellow peers who have participated in school activities to grow into positions of leadership, earn skills of perseverance, and create strong bonds with their fellow classmates. In this bill that I propose, I would like to amend to add an extra opportunity for students. The student's obligation to complete 75 hours of service can be reduced by 25 hours for each school year the student is an active member, a participant in any organized school activity that involves community service, commerce, or student governments. The reason why I would like to provide these opportunities is because they're within our school campus. A lot of these opportunities, the government entities, nonprofit organizations, they're recognized outside of school during weekends. But as I've mentioned before, my colleagues, a lot of parents struggle with transportation, especially with the way life is now. So the reason why I call attention to this is that we bring opportunity to within our schools. Government activities, clubs, community service. We are, instead of bringing the students to the opportunity for service learning, I propose to bring the service of community service to the students instead. And again, I would like to recognize that not everyone has the same the same benefits that some of us students might have. I know there might be senators in here who are not that concerned with service learning because they can access it. But of course, I would just like to call attention to please recognize all students of GDOE to not only build their character, but also bring the opportunity to them to build rapport with their fellow peers, students, and build skills for future generations and leadership. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 7-37 LS to the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator De La Cruz, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the author clarify for me, how active does a student have to be in order to receive this 25-hour reduction?
You may proceed. Will the sponsor yield to that question?
Yes, I yield. So to address my fellow colleagues' question, as an acting president as well, my advisors have brought upon the idea of having service learning offered to students. And I would recommend, when this is carried out, to be carried by the participating student government organizations. It's listed here for commerce, student government, and community service. Whatever participating club, organization, primarily the student government, I would say it is primarily up to the school student government itself to decide how much would dictate is a full school year to that student. Of course, like I said before, opportunities are limited, and not every student can access all the opportunities that student government community service can access. But I'm primarily talking about within school. So again, to just summarize it up to my fellow colleague, it is up to the student government or the organization that they are participating with that will decide what counts as a full school year for the 25-hour reduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator De La Cruz, you are recognized.
So with this service learning reduction, so you're saying to be active, one must be within like a student government or within the sort. But what about the sports that people are in? What about the clubs that are also involved within this, within school properties? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Aguilar, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you. I am open to the opportunity for Scholastic. The reason why I would like to call attention to student government or within, of course, our school is, like I said, transportation. For interscholastic sports, it does require sometimes parents to kind of sacrifice some of their time. And primarily, this bill is addressing the issue of students who cannot access these opportunities due to transportation outside of their control. So I am open to interscholastic sports being a mandatory part of this. However, I do want to address the primary reason why this bill is being addressed, and it is, again, the accessibility it is to all students. Thank you.
Senator De La Cruz, you are recognized.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Azalea, you are recognized.
I stand in support of this bill. Participating in any school activity opens the door to new opportunities, whether to meet new people or discover new passions, and all students deserve the right to be able to do this. It connects us to real-world experiences, prepares us for our future. It improves students' social interaction and also encourages them to learn how to contribute to their community. I believe by supporting this bill, students will have greater opportunities to make a significant difference in our society. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Escano, you are recognized.
I'm in support of Bill number 7-37. As an active student leader in my school, I believe that we spend countless hours in school planning and organizing all of these events, and it should go towards our service learning hours because it's our time that we are putting into all of these events for our school. And I ask to co-sponsor this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Escano. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Rice, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of Senator Aguilar's measure, and I thank my good colleague for his hard work, and I would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Senator Rice. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Villanueva, you are recognized.
I do want to share my support of Senator Aguilar's bill. As someone who's in my class council for the past 4 years, it's hard going through the fundraisers and trying to raise money, and sometimes our class doesn't appreciate us enough. And like having this incentive for people who are in organizations that help build their education opportunities. For example, in commerce, there's DECA, and that helps students see marketing opportunities. I am in support of Senator Aguilar's bill because of its incentives towards people who join for their organizations. And I believe it also promotes school spirit. So yes, that's it.
Thank you, Senator Villanueva. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Torcelino, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Aguilar, for your bill, and I would ask if I would like to be a co-sponsor for his bill. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Carawal, you're recognized.
I support this bill. It'll be giving students a chance to grow and improve themselves and give them an option of developing into something new. I would also like to be a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Lapid, you're recognized.
Hello, I would like to thank Senator Aguilar for this bill, and I rise in support of this bill because it is beneficial to students, and I would like to ask to be a co-sponsor of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lapid. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Azalea, you're recognized.
I would also like to be added as a co-sponsor onto this bill. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? If there are no other member who wishes to speak, Senator Aguilar, you're recognized to close.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to first thank, of course, all of my colleagues for the tremendous support you've given me. I think it is clear and transparent that many students feel this way. I like the points that some of my colleagues have brought up about planning for fundraisers and events, and it feels like students do not give enough attention and enough support for some of these opportunities. Especially as a class president, it is kind of heartbreaking to see, me and a few select strong students in my class who are fundraising all of these for our graduation, our collective graduation, all of us together. And 80% of those students who are affected by our hard work never show up to these events. And of course, I get it, preference, and maybe they're not open yet. But I would like to call attention to this, the service learning, because it does encourage them to be a part of this, to be a part of the class, to build camaraderie with their fellow peers, their fellow students. And again, I'd like to call attention that not everyone has the same benefits that we do. Not everyone has the same passion that we do. And this bill of service learning would encourage students to build their character of leadership, of perseverance for the real world. Let's stop bringing the students to the opportunity of service learning. Let's start leveling the playing field for all the students and bringing the opportunity to the students. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 7-37 LS to the third reading file, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on the eighth bill. Senator Shu on Bill number 8-37 LS. You are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move to place Bill number 8-37 LS on the third reading file, and I would like to discuss it.
You may proceed.
Bill number 8-37 LS is an act to add a new subsection 65110 to Chapter 65, Title 21 of the Guam Code annotated relative to the regulation of aquatic activities during low tide, and to cite this act as the Guam Recreational Water Regulation Act of 2023. Be it enacted by the people of Guam. To my colleagues, in recognition of the importance of our island's marine resources, hopes to prevent erosion, decrease the impacts of tsunamis, and preserve marine habitats, looks to preserve our island's coral resources. Recreational activities conducted during the low tide pose a threat to our island's coral resources. These recreational activities, such as paddling, jet skiing, paddle boarding, and etc., pose a threat to our island's coral resources. Subsection 65110 of the Guam Recreational Water Regulation Act of 2023 shall be added to read: aquatic activities including but not limited to boating, paddling, and jet skiing may not be conducted on or above coral resources within Guam waters during low tide. Not only this, but we would like to implement penalties and fines. Any person who do not abide by this bill will face fines and/or penalties. For the first offense, a fine of $1,000. Second offense, $5,000. And on the third offense, misdemeanor and dispossession of recreational property. But why such harsh repercussions, you may ask? Coral, believe it or not, is a very important resource in our environment and in our marine life. It protects marine life, and not only that, but us human beings as well. It protects us from the dangers of tsunamis and natural causes. Therefore, with this intent, we would like this bill to be passed. Thank you.
On the motion to place Bill number 8-37 LS to the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator Aguilar, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would just have one question regarding the bill. Of course, we have all these fines that we be charged for, of course, that I agree with this. However, I would just like to ask, who will enforce this? Are we going to have regular, patrols of seeing who's doing during low tide? And of course, what classifies as low tide when it is enforced? Because no one's going out to measure, oh, this is low tide, or you're like 1 foot, you're like 1 inch above low tide, and then this is considered
Please
a fine.
address the speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. My apologies. Just to make sure, I would like to be transparent of what exactly classifies as low tide to enforce these regulations, and also who will be enforcing it and charging these fines. Thank you.
Will the sponsor yield to the question?
Yes, I would yield.
You may proceed.
There is actually an already designated schedule of what I guess concludes as low tides and high tides, and there is already a set time which is designated as low tide. Therefore, we will abide by that schedule. And for the I guess control of it, who would be there, this bill actually is not 100 set in stone yet. Therefore, we do not have a set, I guess, committee or a set of people who would enforce these rules. Thank you.
Senator Aguilar, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have no objections. May propose, of course, to make an amendment to create a committee regarding this. Yes. To enforce. Sorry, my apologies. To Parks and yeah, okay. May I suggest to create an amendment to give these responsibilities to Parks and Recreation, as of course it is regarding our island and of course related to part of its natural resources. Thank you.
On that amendment, are there any objections? Would anyone like to speak on the amendment? Senator Marquez, you are recognized. Oh, never mind. On the amendment, is there any other member who would like to speak? Is there any objections? Please raise your hand. Hearing no objections, motion passes. On the bill, is there any other member who wish to speak? Senator Marquez, you are recognized.
I rise to support bill number 8-37 because our coral reefs are an extremely important factor in healthy marine life. And not only do they provide a stable habitat for our aquatic life, but they also help prevent the effects of tsunamis and damage and harm to our coastlines. We need to make these regulations and sacrifices in order to maintain our island's oceans. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Marquez. Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Shu, you are recognized to close.
Supporting this bill also supports the health and safety of our marine life, which is what we all know and love about our beautiful island. So thank you.
On the motion to place bill number 8-37 LS to the third reading file, are there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on resolution number 1. Senator Villanueva, on resolution number 1-37, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move to place resolution number 1-37 LS on the third reading file, and I would like to discuss it.
You may proceed.
Resolution 1-37, introduced by Nehemiah Villanueva, Frederica Herman, and Robert Bermeo, is a mock resolution for a mock session relative to recognizing the Guam Department of Education's Farm to School program and commending them for their active involvement in empowering local farmers, and to further commend them for the enactment of their Seed to School initiative. Whereas the GDOE has now enacted the Seed to School program, I apologize. Whereas the legislature of Guam understands that this not has only benefited the schools, but strengthened the agricultural and fishing industry in Guam during unprecedented times post-pandemic. And whereas it commends the department's efforts in benefiting farmers, fishermen, financially strengthening our local economy, and the aiding in the potential minimizing of diet-related diseases in childhood through the promotion of eating fresh vegetables. For this resolution, I do want to clarify that that this is a mock resolution for mock sessions. Our co-sponsors believe that we wanted to bring light to the possible outcomes of a Farm to School Act, and we also believed that if we were to have the Farm to School Act, we would help empower our farmers and increase food security in our island, while ensuring that there are locally procured foods for our schools. So I would like to introduce my second co-sponsor, Senator Herman.
Senator Herman, whereas Saturan Guahan passed a bill in 2020 that allowed the GDOE to create a Farm to School, also known as F2S program, which would allow GDOE to procure local farmers to produce nutritional meals and incorporate local flavors in the school menu. And whereas since the enactment of F2S program, our island has seen much success with local farming business, as well as the resident interest in growing local fruits and vegetables, because children ate locally grown food and have taken interest in gardening and have also loved these locally grown food. I would like to remain my third co-sponsor, Robert Bermeo.
Thank you, Senator Herman. Whereas the program was so successful that during the 2023 budget sessions, Legislatura Guahan allocated $1 million to the F2S program to help farmers keep their crops safe and healthy for our children's consumption. And whereas the GDOE has now enacted the Seed to School program, which has empowered local fishermen and hunters alike, who encourage the consumption of locally caught fish and wildlife. This allows farmers a good harvest and protection from pests, disease, thieves, and bad weather. This also ensures our children receive healthy, locally grown school lunches. This also ensures that the meat and fish our children are receiving in school lunches are free of drugs, hormones, or any other kind of contaminants. Thank you.
On the motion to place resolution number 1-37LS on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator Villanueva, you are recognized to close.
So in conclusion, we believe that a farm to school legislation that may happen in the future would be beneficial to our community, because it would help support our local farmers, and it would decrease the idea of us having to always rely on imports, which is the majority of our food supply. We also believe that if we were to have this act, which is why we put it as a resolution, it would also help our kids to eat more nutrition-wise, and help our kids foster a better understanding of like education for like agriculture and fishing. Thank you.
On the motion to place resolution number 1-37LS on the third reading file, is there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. We are now on the second resolution. Senator Dela Cruz on Resolution 2-37 LS. You are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move to place resolution number 2-37 LS on the session agenda.
You may proceed.
Resolution number 2-37, introduced by Ethan Dela Cruz, is relative to recognizing Nike Inc. on the celebration of its 51st anniversary on May 30, 2023, and commending Nike Inc. for its commitment and progress nationwide. Whereas Nike Inc., formerly Blue Ribbon Sports, is an American sportswear company headquartered in Beaverton, Oregon. It was founded in 1964 as Blue Ribbon Sports by Bill Bowerman, a track and field coach at the University of Oregon, and his former student Phil Knight. Nike opened their first retail outlet in 1966 and launched the Nike brand shoe in 1972. The company was renamed Nike Inc. in 1978 and went public 2 years later. By the early 21st century, Nike had retail outlets and distributors in more than 170 countries, and its logo, a curved checkmark called the swoosh, was recognized throughout the world. And whereas Nike Inc.'s purpose comes to life through key priorities: build diverse, equitable, and inclusive teams, and champion a transparent, responsible supply chain so people can thrive. Create opportunities for kids and communities to access resources so they can excel and innovate and scale more sustainable solutions to help protect our planet. And whereas Nike sells over 780 million pairs of shoes each year, footwear brings in the highest earnings. According to the latest available data, shoes make up 66% of Nike's total revenue for both in-store and online purchases. And whereas Nike Inc. invests in more equal and inclusive and active communities to help create a future where everyone can thrive. We work with more than 200 organizations around the world, dedicated to leveling the playing field and addressing inequality. And whereas inspiration, innovation, and empowerment, those are just few words that describe Nike's branding. And whereas this incorporation enables us to create more impact in each of the 8 communities we support. Individuals of all abilities, Asian American, Middle East, and Pacific Islander communities, the Black community, the Latinx community, our military and veteran communities, Native American and Indigenous communities, the LGBTQIA+ community, and whereas Nike is a leader in promoting health and fitness to youth around the world. The company's commitment to wellness has been demonstrated through its activewear, footwear, and apparel designs that are all accessible to all, as well as its trademarked "Just Do It" slogan that encourages young people to stay motivated and pursue their goals. And whereas Nike also engages in philanthropic activities such as sponsoring youth sports teams and providing free fitness classes to disadvantaged communities. Through its efforts, Nike is helping to ensure that future generations stay engaged in healthy lifestyles. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Committee on Rules of Imanachintay Siete na Legislatura en Guahan does hereby, on behalf of the people of Guam, recognize Nike Incorporated on the celebration of its 51st anniversary on May 30, 2023, and commend them for its commitment and progress nationwide. And be it further, we also encourage that on May 30, our island community observes this day and to wear Nike to support their impacts in creating more equal, inclusive, and active communities. And be it further, that the Speaker and the Chairperson of the Committee on Rules certify, and the Legislative Secretary attests to the adoption hereof, and that copies of the same be thereafter transmitted to Nike Inc., to AB Sports, Guam, Finish Line Macy, to House of Hoops by Foot Locker, Micronesia Mall, to Famous Footwear, Guam Premium Outlets, to Goodies Sports Goods, Champions Sporting Goods, to Hornet Sports, to DNA Evo Shoes, to Crowns Guam, to Run Guam, and to the Honorable Zeta Camacho. Imagahan Guahan. Thank you,
On
Speaker.
the, on the motion to place Resolution 2-37 LS on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator Aguilar, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I apologize for it in advance, but I would like to stand in objection to this commitments and progress or commending this company. Now, I'm not saying that any retail company in the world is perfect. The modern truth of our world is that nothing is perfect. But to recognize a company that outsources to third world countries and outsources to students who don't have proper working benefits, proper pay, also some who may be children, I do not feel comfortable that our island, who represents a community, a strong community, should endorse a widespread company that you say enables to create more impact for individuals, Asian American, Middle East, Pacific Islander communities. However, some of these communities, I would say, are taken advantage of. So I would find it ironic and a little hypocritical to commend a company like Nike, who you say impacts these individuals in a positive way, but impacts more them in a negative way. And again, so furthermore, not only to observe their anniversary on May 30, but to wear Nike to support their impacts in creating more equal, inclusive, and active communities. I am not sure if this aligns with Guam's kind of community and morals of commending, like I say, a company that outsources to communities that we are also a part of, Asian, primarily Asian. So again, I would just like to say I am an objection to this commending of Nike Incorporated. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Bermeo, you are recognized.
I would also just like to say that I also stand in objection to the bill. Just adding on to what Senator Aguilar said, Nike is known for having sweatshops with poor labor conditions in third world countries. So I do believe that it is a little hypocritical to commend them on their achievements for all these minority communities when they don't uphold themselves to those standards in countries less fortunate than us. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator De La Cruz, you are recognized to close.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to commend my colleagues, and I appreciate all these very great pointers, and I would like to ask for a vote. I would like to ask for a vote.
On the motion for a vote, is there any objection to bill number, resolution 2-37 LS? Is there any objection to resolution 2-37 LS? Please raise your hand. All in favor for the resolution 2-37 LS, please raise your hand. There has been an objection to resolution 2-37 LS. All in favor for this resolution, please raise your hand. The motion fails. We are, we are now on the ninth bill. Senator Sato, you're recognized. Senator Akda, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to place Bill number 937 LS on the third reading file, and I would like to discuss it.
You may proceed.
Bill number 937 is an act to appropriate $400,000 from fiscal year 2023 general fund revenues collected in excess of adopted levels enumerated in Public Law 3654 as amended to Department of Agriculture to ensure the safety and welfare of the people and animals pertaining to the overpopulation of stray dogs and cats on Guam. I yield the rest of my time to my co-sponsor, Senator Sato. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sato, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Regarding the amount of stray cats and dogs there are in Guam, there is only so much they can do to protect themselves. With the environment that they are left in, they do not have access to food, and the water that they intake is likely to be polluted. Since there is no access to actual sustenance, they are more prone to diseases that could be transmitted to people and wildlife. In the environment they raise themselves in, they have no set figure to teach them how to take care of themselves and how to respect other beings. That is why it is important to increase funding for their protection, their care, and technically their happiness. It would likely result in less stray dogs around Guam, and in extension, with the shelters the fund will provide, more dogs will be sheltered and more dogs will be cared for. I ask my colleagues for their support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On the motion to place Bill number 9-37 LS on the third reading file, is there any member who wishes to speak? Senator Azalea, you're recognized.
I rise in support of this bill. One common factor of all the areas I've lived in here on Guam is the exceeding amount of stray animals. The overpopulation of these stray animals can be a danger to our society. They may cause road traffic incidents or spread diseases to the public. Additionally, they tend to leave their feces everywhere, which poses as an inconvenience to many of our citizens. They are also a danger to themselves as they are at risk of infection, starvation, injury, or death by a car accident or any of these other means. This bill will protect our people and provide these animals with a better home. I believe that by supporting this bill, we can improve the quality of life here on our island. I would also ask to be a co-sponsor on this bill. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Akda, you are recognized. Senator Carawell, you are recognized.
I stand and support this bill as Guam is a small island and there is an increasing amount of stray dogs. Just adding more and more, leaving stray dogs out and unprotected is a risk to the people because stray dogs can carry many diseases and germs. From to stray dogs to humans, humans can carry something that could kill them. I would also like to be added as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Is there any other member who wishes to speak? Senator Akda and Senator Sato, you're recognized to close.
I thank you to my colleagues for their support, and I recognize my fellow senator as a co-sponsor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On the motion to place Bill number 9, on the motion to place Bill number 9-37 LS on the third reading file, is there any objections? Hearing no objections, motion carries. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we have exhausted items on the second reading file and notwithstanding the House rules. I move that we go to the third reading voting file. Move to vote without engrossment.
On the motion, is there any objections?
No objection.
Hearing no objections, motion carries. Senator Azalea, can you please state your last name?
Nira Royce. Nira Royce.
Thank you, Senator Nira Royce. We are now on item 18, consideration of the daily file. We are going to waive the reading of the titles of the bills in the interest of time. Bill number 1-37. Clerk, please read the sponsors.
Senator Balago,
Roll call.
Senator Acta,
We are voting on bill number 1.
Senator Acta, aye. Senator Agagi, Senator Aguilar,
We are voting on bill number 1. Clerk, please do a roll call.
Senator Acta,
Senator Acta, you are voting. Please say aye or nay to bill number 1-37 LS.
Senator Acta, aye. Senator Aguilar, Senator Aguilar, nay. Senator Balago. Senator Balago, aye. Senator Bermeo. Senator Bermeo, aye. Senator Carrawell. Senator Carrawell, aye. Senator Dela Cruz. Senator Dela Cruz, aye. Senator Iscano. Senator Iscano, aye. Senator Herman. Senator Herman, aye. Senator Lapid. Senator Lapid, aye. Senator Lizama. Speaker Malici.
Aye.
Speaker Malici, aye. Senator Marquez. Senator Marquez, aye. Senator Negra. Senator Niraros. Senator Niraros, aye. Vice Speaker Rice. Vice Speaker Rice, aye. Senator Sato. Senator Sato, aye. Senator Solidum. Senator Solidum, aye. Senator Torcellino. Senator Torcellino, aye. Senator Trautis. Senator Trautis excused. Senator Villanueva. Senator Villanueva, aye. Senator Shu. Senator Shu, aye.
Bill number 1-37 received 17 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 excused. Bill number 137 is duly passed by the body. In the interest of time, we will do voting by hands, and we are now on bill number 2-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Majority. Bill number 2-37 is duly passed by the body. We are now on bill number 3-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. The bill received majority support. Bill number 3-37 is duly passed by the body. We are now on bill number 4-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Majority supported. Bill number 4-37 is duly passed by the body. We are now on bill number 5-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Majority supports. Bill number 5-37 is duly passed by the body. We are now on Bill 6-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Majority supported. Bill number 6-37 is duly passed by the body. We are now on Bill 7-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Majority supported. Bill number 7-37 is duly passed by the body. We are now on Bill number 8-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Majority supported. Bill number 8-37 is duly passed by the body. We are now on resolution number 1-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Resolution number 1-37 is duly adopted by the body. We are now on resolution 2-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Resolution 2-37 failed to be adopted by the body. We are now on bill number 9-37. All in favor, please raise your hand. Majority supported. Bill number 9-37 is duly passed by the body. Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to adjourn this session subject to the call of the Speaker.
On the motion to adjourn this session subject to call of the Speaker, is there any objections? With no objection, so ordered.
Test. Okay, everyone. We will now move into our awards ceremony. We have a special certificate for all of our youth leaders for the day. So I'd like to call up all of the senators here, the adult senators, the Guam senators. Okay, and then we will call up the youth senator counterparts. Okay.
Congratulations, everyone. That was excellent. I was very impressed by your remarks and by the work you put into your bills. Excellent. Great job. And thank you for coming here today.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much for choosing to be a senator for the day in the Guam legislature. I know some of your parents are here to pick you up already. We had a long day of session. We didn't expect you to debate for that long, but we're very, very impressed by your work, and we hope that you are all inspired to someday run for office or serve in the government of Guam. That was the purpose of you coming today to Island Leadership Day, to just have a little taste, and hopefully your interest will continue to grow. So we will go in order of how you signed in for Island Leadership Day. And please just come up to the front, receive your certificate, and then we ask you to please line up behind us in the second row, and we will take a group photo all together at the end. All right? So can you guys just help find the name? And especially if it's your counterpart, hand it to your counterpart. Yes, find your counterpart, and I'm just going to read off the names. Okay, sorry. Find your counterpart, and then we'll read it off. Rice is, Tina Munya Barnes. So you can just give her speaker. So when your name is called, please come up and find your senator, and your senator will give you your certificate. And then again, please go to the row behind us, and we'll take a photo all together. Who had Marquez? Michaela? You? All right, let's see a show of hands. Who's running for senator when they're old enough? All right. Okay, we have one. Who's interested in joining the Guam Youth Congress? Okay, there's a little bit more. So please look out for those announcements for the Youth Congress. That election happens in October. We look forward to having you all here as Youth Congress representatives very soon. All right, we'll start with Majority Leader Nichelle Torcelino. Oh, yes. Come up, find your senator, and then go head up to the top. Okay, get up there in the middle there. Okay. Azalea Nira Royes. Genesis Carawell. All right. Thanks, Genesis. Okay. Congratulations. Frederica Herman. From St. John's High School. Robert Gabriel Bermeo, Ukadu High School. John Paul Lapid, John F. Kennedy High School. Elaine Ashley Solidum, Ukadu High School. Ella Faye Escano, Ukadu High School. Ethan Dela Cruz, Father Duenas Memorial School. And special mention for Riley Treltis and Amanda Lazama from Agata Johnson Middle School. They had to go off to play a game. They're in sports. Riley Teltris and Amanda Lazama. Ellis Sato. St. Anthony Catholic School. Yes. Great job. Haley Akda, St. Paul Christian School. Ariana Balagat, St. Paul Christian School. Ivan Aguilar, John F. Kennedy High School. Bernard Melisis, Father Duenas Memorial School. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Jamie Shu, St. John's School. Michaela Marquez, Louis P. Untalon Middle School. And Anna Rice, St. Anthony Catholic School. Oh, okay. And Anna is the Vice Speaker. Okay. And lastly, Nehemiah Villanueva, Teton High School. All right, congratulations to all of our participants. Happy Island Leadership Day and Biba Manhoben.